So the purpose of this video here is to go through the outline and the Moodle page with you guys so you know what to expect for the semester. So first off, I'm just going to go through the outline, which you can find here on the Moodle page. And essentially this outline talks about the class, myself. Office hours are available pretty much any time that you guys want on Teams. Just let me know ahead of time when you want to meet. And sometimes you could also just email me and say, are you free? Can we chat? And if I'm around, I'll just say like, yeah, let's talk in 5-10 minutes. So if you need to reach me, try any point in time, and I'll always get back to you really rapidly. But if I'm free, even if it's an off time, that doesn't really matter. So obviously during the daytime, it's probably the best, but in the evenings, I could also be free for some people. So in this class here in microeconomics, we're going to talk about supply and demand, consumer producer behavior, consumer utility, and so on and so forth. You could go through all of that yourself. The textbook used in this class here is the Reagan textbook. It's the 16th edition. If you have previous editions, it's very similar. The only difference is really with the end of chapter practice questions. So make sure you take a look at the more recent version. It should be available to you at the library, just so that you can see those questions, or else on the Moodle page, you'll see in a second where you can find what the equivalent questions would be in those previous chapters. Then when it comes to course evaluation, there's a few different grading schemes. So there's these two grading schemes that are possible, but these two grading schemes, whatever gives you the best grade is what you're going to get. But you must pass the final exam to pass the class. And if you don't pass the final exam, even though maybe your cumulative grade is about 50, you're going to get the final exam grade instead, just because you have to pass the final exam. Anyone caught cheating on any exam will receive a grade of 0 and will be reported. Just don't cheat, and you'll be fined. I've had to report people in the past. It's not a fun thing for me nor the students, so just make sure you don't cheat. So in this class here, you have a total of 7 quizzes. 6 of them are based on like 2 or 3 chapters at a time, and one of them is really a practice quiz that is longer, practice in the sense for the final exam. It gives you an idea of what to expect, and also more of an idea of how to prepare for the final exam, because maybe some of the earlier chapters might be further in your review. So when you do this exam, this quiz, essentially you use it as a tool to see which chapters you might need a little bit more refreshing if you've realized that some of the questions you didn't do so well. But for all of these quizzes, the way I've set it up is you always have a full week to be able to start and finish the quiz. So these are the dates that you can start and finish. Don't start at close to midnight on the 24th and then spill over to the 25th. It won't work. And you always have this full week to do the quiz. And normally you could only review the quiz once that week is done. So on January 25th, if you want to see what you did well or not so well on the first quiz, you can go and take a look. The only quiz that you'll be able to review right after doing it will be this final quiz, just to make sure that you're ready to review properly for your final exam afterwards. Then for the midterm, you guys actually have like a full 2 weeks to do the midterm. So there's time before the reading week, time during the reading week, and time after the reading week to do this midterm. So you choose the block of time that works best and you do it then. The quizzes are 10 questions, 20 minutes, and then the midterm, I believe, is an hour and a half and something like 25 questions. I'll have to check again, but it's something of that nature. You have a little bit more time per question for the actual midterm. In this course, we use online proctoring. Just make sure that you set it up appropriately and that you're using it for the exams. Final grade is automatically by the larger sum of the 2 options that are seen there. And then calculators required. Just make sure you have some calculator. You could always use the calculator on Moodle sometimes, but I would just have your own calculator. It just makes it easier. And then the final exam could be up to April 27th. I'm not sure which date the records office will give. That's why it was to be announced or to be determined. But that's pretty much what you should expect. So these are all of the weeks broken down. So it starts from like a midweek to a midweek. I've just set it up based on when the semester starts. So don't worry about it so much. And these are all of the topics you're going to cover. And then this chapter 8, which will be partly before reading week and partly after reading week, if you follow the weeks appropriately, well, that's a smaller chapter anyways. And then at the very end of the semester, you have the final exam. So let's just go through the Moodle page, make sure everything's clear. So here, these two links are really to be able to buy the textbook. You could either buy a paper version or the ebook version. Make sure that if you click on the ebook link, that you choose the actual microeconomics ebook, because for some reason, following that link, you have the macroeconomics as well. So you need the Reagan one. Then here are my notes for the full semester. So these notes in full format are notes that you can use on a computer, a phone, or anything that allows you to see the whole slide completely. It takes up the whole page potentially. And it's just easier to review on any electronic device. Whereas these notes here are the ones that you could actually buy from the print shop or the bookstore on campus. And these come in a 4x4 page, so it's smaller. You're not wasting as much paper if you're going to print it, and you can take notes beside the slides. And all of my lectures are found on YouTube. And the same thing for these notes and the lectures. You'll actually have the week by week versions in each of the weeks. We'll see how that works in a second. Then at the beginning of the pandemic, I just wanted to make sure that people could keep learning and not have to spend too much time always being on a screen. So I encourage you guys to keep learning as you're driving somewhere or you're hiking or ski touring, whatever you may enjoy to do. Well, you have access to some of the notes I've done for this class, and you also have the MP3 files if you're going somewhere where there's just no cell service and you want to load them all. And the beauty behind these is the way I present in those audio only versions is I kind of create like these 20-30 minute short reviews of each of the chapters. And as much as possible, I expect you guys to be able to do something else at the same time so that you're not relying on your notes. Whereas when you're listening to a video and I'm speaking, well, you'll often see like graphs and other things being added as I speak. So I'm expecting you guys to actually see something at the same time. So this is a version that allows you to learn without having to look at a screen. Then I have some end of chapter suggested questions so that you do well in this class. There's that and practice questions that you should do before all of the quizzes, midterms, and final. And then if you have a previous version, this is just a file that gives you equivalencies to know what the 15th or 14th edition equivalent question would be. And all the answers are available to there. This is where I'm going to be putting the video I'm creating now. That's why I have the word mod. And over here are the information that you should look at for Proctorio. So for Proctorio, you'll have to use a software like Google Chrome, and you'll have to install the plugin. Make sure you do all of that before you need it. So just go through the process and see how it's done. So each of these weeks are collapsible. So you could kind of open them, close them. This is the topic for this week. So when you see these notes, chapter 1 notes, chapter 2, 3, 32 notes, these are the same ones that you would have in this bigger file up here. This is just chapter 1's notes, and this is just chapter 2/32's notes. So if you printed the other document or you have it on your computer, disregard this. These videos here are the videos for this specific week. If you click on the YouTube link above, same thing, you have it all there. And here you have the book answers, and once again, these book answers were found in this file here. So you have all of that. It's just that all of this, it's just breaking down what you have in that above heading for this specific week, and I do that for every week. Then you have a series of practice quizzes. These practice quizzes always consist of 5 questions. They're randomized, but it's always the same 5 ones. You could do that as many times as possible, but it's no value. You just do it for practice. And then if ever you struggle with any of those practice questions, and sometimes I put some of the harder ones there, not necessarily all the time, but there's some that might be more tricky. If there's things that you don't really grasp, well, I actually created videos that explain each of those practice questions. So if you click on this link, you'll have access to the videos that explain practice quiz 1, practice quiz 2, and so on. And then you'll see sometimes extra links that are like videos of things I find interesting with respect to the material. And sometimes there's different articles. Those are very interesting for your kind of like your general knowledge and to see applications of what you'll learn. But at this point, those do not appear on the actual quizzes or exams. So for the quizzes and exams, it's always going to be something that's been focused on in the notes, in the videos discussed. You'll never see something from the textbook that was never discussed in the notes. So if ever you see a question that you're like, I don't know how I could have answered this right based on all of the material that I give to you, well, let me know and I'll adjust, but that never happens. Then same thing goes for every other week. So you have like, once again, the notes, the videos, the answers, practice quiz. Now it's just for one chapter, so that's it. Video explanation, an extra article. And here you have an evaluated quiz. So like I showed on the outline, you have a full week to do it. Actually, this one here's, I'll have to adjust. Well, actually, I don't really mind if you guys have 2 more days. But normally it should have been not from the Monday. Anyways, you have a full week to do this whole quiz. And once you click on it, then you have access to it. Time limit 20 minutes, only once as allowed. This quiz is not currently available because we're not open right now. It's not the 16th or beyond, but make sure you do all of those. So in a nutshell, that's the procedure. If you have any technical issues on any exam or anything else with regards to Proctorio, I invite you to contact ITS. These are all of their information. And then if you have any questions with regards to the material, I invite you to contact me, and that's my information there. So hopefully you have a good semester and everything works out well and you do well in this class, and reach out if you have any issues. Thanks. Have a good day.